Hey guys, here with Roy Marsh Jiu-Jitsu at Gracie Schwartzwald, and I'm going to go over another topic. I was having a conversation online with a good friend of mine, Jake Whitfield, who is a North Carolina Hoist black belt and runs Gracie Goldsboro. If you're in North Carolina, you should definitely go check it out and train with him. I'll put his information in the description below. But we were just talking about some things, and he told a story about when we were, I don't know, maybe blue belt or probably purple belt, I think. And he asked Royce about escaping a triangle, and Royce told him, the cliche answer, don't get caught in it. And that kind of ticked Jake off, because he was looking for an answer to the problem. Some I won't say tricks, but some answers to the problem he didn't realize he already had the solution to. And what I mean by that is one of the things that my team did coming up, probably at least once a week, if not more, is we covered the stack pass. It was our bread and butter pass on our team, and it was very something we just drilled over and over and over again and really studied in depth. And a lot of the old school guys from Team Rock have an amazing stack pass. And so Jake said, the next seminar, Royce taught the stack pass. And people were asking, what about the triangle? And he said, okay, he challenged anybody to triangle him while he did the stack pass. And nobody could. And Jake then realized, basically he already had the tools to deal with the triangle. And it was really a good illustrative point of the fundamentals are the fundamentals, because if you get good at those, they solve a lot of problems that people think they have that they actually don't have. The problem is people kind of gloss over the fundamentals. I've heard people say, I spent my month on the fundamentals and now, I'm off to the advanced class. Which just, you can't do fundamentals in a month, six weeks. You should be doing the fundamentals your entire time. I heard a story of Elio once saying, like 3 weeks before he passed, that he had figured out some more details on the cross collar choke. And so, we really worked on it, and even as much as we worked on it, Jake hadn't viewed it from the perspective of using the tool he already had as the way to deal with the triangle. And that talk referenced something else, which I had actually talked to my students about over the weekend, which was there is a mindset in many jiu-jitsu schools of teaching people to avoid problems, right? First, kind of having poor basics, or kind of glossing over the basics because basics don't work. And then, when you have sort of poor basics, you do have to have more and more ways to solve the problems that the holes in those basics provide or enable. So, if you can't do the stack pass correctly, then yeah, you got to deal with the triangle. And then if I can't defend the triangle correctly, then I have to deal with the arm lock, etc. And you kind of go down this path. Problem is now you have to know hundreds and hundreds of techniques. Whereas if you kind of do the things right from the beginning, a lot of those problems go away. The way I mount, the way I side control, the way I pass, I actually avoid a lot of problems. Versus, okay, now I got to learn how to get out of this heel hook, and I got to learn how to do this. And I'm not saying I don't get caught with those things, but I don't deal with it very often. And the point was Jake went back and he really focused on the stack pass as his solution to the triangle. And I can tell you from personal experience, I don't know that, if I ever triangled Jake, I certainly haven't since that time. And I can't really remember anybody triangling him since, at all ranks. But the talk I was having with my students is this mindset that you have to avoid problems. And to me, that's the wrong mindset, right? I don't want to avoid the guard. I don't want to avoid being mounted. What I want to do is learn those things, right? So like I tell people all the time, like if you want to learn how to pass half guard, what you do is you get in somebody's half guard and you don't pass. You stay in there. You learn everything you can about it. You know, I'm not saying lock down, you play the game, but you let them have, you know, knee shield, whatever, butterfly, learn it all. Get so comfortable in there that one, they'll kind of give you the pass and the frustration that they can't get anything going, but two, your comfort will allow you to have a better vision and a better patience for when the opportunities come. What happens is people don't know these positions and they avoid them, so when they do get caught in these positions, whether it's closed guard or mount or side control, whatever, they panic and they throw everything they have, power and everything, and go nuts. And you know, also they don't know how to be safe in those positions, so they inevitably get, you know, submitted or swept or exhausted. So, you know, I used to have a friend of mine, jiu-jitsu. He has an amazing open guard, and people would always ask me, you know, why do you just go right into it? Why don't you run around it? I don't want to run around his guard. I want to get in his guard and learn it. I want to be comfortable there. That's how I'm going to defeat it. I can only run around it so many times. And what happens is if I pin my hopes on running around it, if I do get caught in it, again, I'm going to panic. I'm not going to know what to do. It's going to be unknown territory to me. Plus, in a real fight, you know, if I'm avoiding his open guard, he's just going to get up. You know, we're taught not to entangle ourselves, or most schools tell you know, the guy's on his back, don't entangle, get around. But in a fight, I've absolutely got to entangle, or he's going to get up. You know, so if I don't know how to live in that entanglement, you know, it might work in a sports setting, but it's certainly not going to work in a fight setting. So what I tell people, I did this once at my old school. For like 2 months, we just worked on being inside closed guard. And my students got so comfortable. I had one student of mine, and she would go to other academies, and she would just jump in people's closed guards. And it really confused them, but they couldn't do anything to her. She was just so comfortable defending and being patient, and then the openings would come. And more importantly, she had the clarity of vision now, the relaxed ability to see the opportunities. What I tell people is, if you panic and you're not comfortable where you are, you take the first opportunity, not the best opportunity. And the first opportunity may be disastrous for you. So, you know, the way to get good at all of this is don't think of the goal, whether it's a pass, whether it's a submission or whatever. Think of being completely comfortable in whatever position you are without having to leave that position. Learn, you know, again, being stuck underneath somebody in side control. Learn being in half guard and not trying to force something to happen. Get to the point where you're completely comfortable in those positions. And you'll see that you'll need a lot fewer techniques than trying to always, you know, he does something and I have to have a counter, and he has to have a counter, and I have to have a counter, and I have to have a eventuality for all my mistakes because I'm panicking because it's all unknown territory to me. So that's just a little talk I wanted to have about kind of a mindset that I try to encourage my students of not avoiding problems, but you know, going into these places that are problems and becoming completely comfortable, familiar with all the terrain, and then they're not problems, they're not unexplored territory. You know, I had a friend of mine who trains at Allianz, and he told me, like, a lot of the young guys there now, you know, they got amazing guards. It's really tough to pass, but once you pass, they basically give up because they don't know what to do, because sort of the mindset is, well, if you've passed in a tournament, you've probably won, you're probably that far ahead on points, so I lost. And that's been my experience too. I'll pass guys guards these days, and I'll feel them just give up, right? Because they don't know what to do. They pinned all their hopes on not happening, of not having to deal with this position, and they're completely unfamiliar with it. I think that's why you see a lot of guys sort of rolling out, turtling, giving up their backs because they don't know how to be comfortable in these positions. So anyway, it's just something to think about, something to play with when you guys are, training and rolling. Don't think of, avoiding the situations. Learn every situation and become comfortable in every situation and become fluent in the language of every position. All right, hope that helps.